So if you watched part one of the Offas Dyke video, you'll obviously realise that part two continues the Offas Dyke. That's the structure behind me there, that kind of earth bank and ditch. So I'm heading south to north, and I'm in the Vale of Montgomery, I believe, and I'm in sort of very rural, gently undulating landscape. Nothing remarkable, just field after field at the moment, but enjoyable and easy going. Let's have a look at the route ahead. So we tend to keep to the field margins. Some cattle in the next field, so that might be interesting, but otherwise it's been kind of these ploughed fields. There's the hills that I came over yesterday to Mellington, where I camped at Mellington Hall campsite. So that's the general gist of it. So that's the way forward. Day 7 continues. So I'm just pointing out over in the distance there, Montgomery. There's a footpath with a sign to it. Looks like there's a castle up on the hill as well. So if you did need to make a little bit of a detour, it doesn't look that too far away really. So that's Montgomery, and I'm going to just continue along the Offas Dyke Trail. Some action going on here, my goodness. Huh. The view from up here across the I assume it's the Vale of Montgomery is really quite good today with the sunshine. That's the way I've just come. I'm just walking past Beacon Ring, which is kind of looks like an Iron Age hill fort. Don't know much about it, but it's right at the top of this hill, and it overlooks Welsh Pool, which is down in the valley bottom down there. So this is me arriving at Buttington, and it's the end of stage 7 according to the Cicerone guide, and this is a bridge going over the River Severn, I think. The question for me now is, do I find somewhere around here to stop? Welsh Pool's not too far in the distance, or do I carry on? The weather's really good, perfect for walking really, and it's light till about 8 or so o'clock, maybe even 9. So I'll make a decision and let you know further on in the trail. So I've just been up into outskirts of Welsh Pool, about a quarter of a mile up the road, and there's a petrol station, a filling station with a shop there, so I've been able to get a few bits and pieces, including rather drastically 5 bananas, they come in kind of plastic wrapped packs. So I've eaten 2 to try and get the weight down. That bridge there is absolutely lethal. There's no pavement on either side, and when I crossed it an hour ago, there was just streams of traffic coming and going, Saturday afternoon traffic, and it was very, very scary. Anyway, I'm going to continue on. It's a nice evening, and the way goes down here along the River Severn, and I think it picks up the Montgomery Canal. I'm just walking along the towpath of the Montgomery Canal. Very nice. Bit of road noise on the right hand side. There's a busy A road over here. A little bit of wildlife on the trail here. Doing a bit of fishing. I'm afraid it's going to fly off in a minute. There we go. Big birds. Well, I found a bit of a camping spot. I'm in a field next to the River Severn. It's a tiny little field just in that direction. Every field that I've come through has got cattle in it, and through here beyond that wire fence there's another fairly big field with cattle in it, and so it goes. So I could end up just walking and walking and never finding anywhere, but I found a pitch. It's in this rough bit of ground. I'm sure I'll be okay, but I'm on the flood defence of the River Severn, opposite the quarry. The farm is just a field away in that direction, but there is a flood bank over the back here, so I'm kind of fairly discreetly hidden. So I'll get set up and we'll pick up the trail tomorrow. Good morning all, it's the start of day 8. I'm somewhere just to the north of Welshpool. The trail is just up there, so I'm going to rejoin it in a moment. Just to say, leave no trace if you're doing any camping out in the countryside. Right, let's get back on trail. So it's 10 o'clock. I'm just taking shelter from the rain. I'm still in the Severn Valley. I'm going to make some breakfast. I took the tent down without having breakfast and got onto the trail. So now it's time to get a big cup of coffee and some porridge. I picked up a banana or 2 yesterday, so I'll have a banana, maybe have some bread and peanut butter. That'll keep me going for a bit. Job's a good one, nice and sheltered here. Well, isn't that just typical? I sat on the a root bowl of the trees over there, and literally from there to here, look what I found. Somebody's hewn a little bench out of a fallen log there. If I'd have walked on a bit further, I'd have been well set up. There you go. Future reference, everybody, if you're doing this trail. There's always something round the corner. That is what you call a really good school bell. When that rings, you definitely have to make your way back to the classroom. I'm in a place called Four Crosses, still heading north. So I'm just leaving Llandmynech. I arrived here about lunchtime. It's Sunday, so there's 2 or 3 pubs down there, and I was able to get a Sunday lunch, which has put me on. Anyway, we're just about to go back into England from Wales. Looks like Offa had quite an influence back in the 8th century over the boundary between England and Wales, even to this day. So that's the way forward, and it's uphill. So these are the limestone quarries at Llandmynech Hill, and they go some way to explaining the course of the Montgomery Canal. That's the limestone was used for smelting iron and for agricultural purposes as well. So I'm above Llandmynech and heading slowly north. Well, that's a good view back, that is. Right through up towards Welsh Pool, and the hill in the distance is the Beacon Hill Fort, where I was yesterday afternoon. And the weather's perked up a bit this afternoon. So I've just reached a really nice viewpoint above Nantmore, between Nantmore and Trefonen. Just reading out of the book here. The hill is called Moelfith, and there's a little viewpoint spot here. So without giving you a dizzy spell, this is the way that I've just come down here. They're the BREIDDEN hills over there with the quarry. That's kind of opposite there is where I was camping, and that's the Welsh Pool direction where the Offas Dyke Trail comes through. And they're the Berwyn hills over there, and over there, and then up yonder, that big hill is called Cadair Idris. That looks quite a big prominent peak. And then as we pan round slowly, just lovely countryside here. There is Trefonen, and the path goes down here and through Trefonen, and then away in the distance, apparently that kind of flat topped hill over there, that is Alderley Edge over in Cheshire. So I'm kind of getting surprisingly north now. Just coming into Trefonen and spotted this. It shows the route of Offas Dyke and where we are at the moment, and up there towards Prestatyn. Very nicely done. Seen a picture of that in the book. I think the quarrymen made that. Looks a nice place to stop for a while. Anyway, I'm going to continue on. It's a lovely evening, climbing up through this forest. It's 7 o'clock in the evening, and I'm coming to the end of the walking day and needing to begin to look for a place to camp. And holy moly, it looks like I found a water source that doesn't look like it's going to kill me. So let's start getting this filtered and then head on. That's working well. That's quite a good flow rate through there. It's quite pure, this water, thankfully. Oh, I'm just maybe half a mile short of Chirk Castle, and I found this little hollow literally just off Offas Dyke, and so this is wild camp number 2. I'll be away early tomorrow. Well, good morning all. Day 9 begins, and I'm just heading down towards Chirk Castle and heading towards LLANDEGLA or LLANDEGLA today. The weather looks reasonably okay. Bit chilly overnight, but we're back on trail, so let's see what happens today. So there it is, Chirk Castle. It looks in good shape. So that's the way I've just come, and I think this is the ticket office here if you visit it by car or whatever. Go around the grounds, the castle. Anyway, I think my way continues out through here to rejoin the official Offas Dyke path. I've just come down onto the Llangollen Canal, and already quite busy with narrow boats. So we're on the PONTCYSYLLTE aqueduct, a bit of a narrow walkway. Conscious with this rucksack on that I might knock somebody in. It does give you a feeling of exposure here. But the walkway is pretty good. So I'm about half an hour away from the aqueduct there, and I'm in TELFORD Hallwood, and it's really well waymarked, and nice dappled sunlight coming through the trees. So my way goes up here, I think. There's various paths, but they're quite clear in terms of Offas Dyke. Well, I've arrived at World's End, and I'm going to do what every other YouTuber does: cross the ford on the stepping stones, as long as they're not slippy. So I've just come up from that little stream crossing at World's End, and you climb up to the very tops here on a little single track road, and then at a certain point, possibly just make out a car back there, the path turns off and it seems to be this sort of slabbed structure all the way. It's a fantastic walkway, obviously across quite wet, boggy, peaty ground. So that's a fantastic achievement to actually put this in place. Anyway, heading towards that forest away up there. Morning all, it's the start of day 10. I'm in LLANDEGLA and I'm going to head over the CRIGGION hills to BODFARI. A little bit late setting off. There's some heavy rain last night. My legs are really weary and I'm not sure how well I'm going to get on over the CRIGGION hills. I'm slightly dreading them at this point. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get there. So, day 10, we'll get on the trail in a few minutes, well, half an hour or so. Let the tent dry out a bit. There's a lot of condensation this morning, particularly after the rain. See how far we get. I'm sure we'll make it. Just finding my way out of LLANDEGLA. And the shop and the cafe just behind me there. Handy if you want to stock up on snacks and supplies for the way over the CRIGGIONs. Well, as I'm walking along this fairly steady track, just to say that the last sort of physical remnant of Offas Dyke, I believe, was back at sort of Chirk Castle, that sort of area, maybe PONTCYSYLLTE. So from that point onwards you don't actually have a dike as such to follow. There's no kind of earthwork, but anyway, it's still part of the Offas Dyke Trail here. And at the moment, quite a lot of the hills, like the one above, we're kind of traversing round, so it makes for reasonably easy going. Anyway, this is the trail as it is currently. So I'm on Foyle Finley, and these are the earthworks of the Iron Age hill fort. You can see the embankments and the ditches, the series of them, and an absolutely fantastic vantage point for whoever lived here back in the Iron Age. And there's a marker post keeping us on track. Top of Moor Famau, approaching the Jubilee Tower, just there. So that's Mole Arthur over there, and again you can see another the ramparts of a hill fort on the top of it. The path I'm taking goes round the right hand side and then over the other hill in the distance. But we're heading there, we're getting to BODFARI steadily. made it to BODFARI, the campsite here. Very well appointed spot. So it took me 9.5 hours, set off at 9 o'clock this morning, arrived here about 6:30. I'm going to get organised and then get some sleep, and tomorrow hopefully make it through to Prestatyn. So that concludes the end of day 10. Well, if you found any value in this video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And I'll continue on the way after I've had my break, and I'll see you in the next one. Good morning. I'm just leaving BODFARI, heading for Prestatyn today. This is day 11, and rain overnight, but it seems to be clearing. Going up this incredibly steep hill, so that's a good start to the day. So let's see if we can get to Prestatyn today. I'm on the other side of the fence on this lovely trackway. Oh yes, no chance. So as I approach the last few kilometres, last few miles into Prestatyn, which is just over there, I just thought I'd reflect a little bit on my experience of the trail. It's certainly varied. It's quite hilly, quite lumpy. The Black Mount, the Shropshire Hills, the Clwydians, also quite remote as well, in terms of you know, passing through places in the middle of the day for sort of refreshments and things like that quite often. Also, if you're backpacking, there's very little water on the route, so you have to make use of I guess shops and pubs and places like that. There are quite a few campsites, but not all the way. I followed the Cicerone guide and followed the 12-day itinerary. Some of the stages don't end with a campsite. The majority do, but some don't. And I wild camped on 2 occasions. I'm glad I took trekking poles because of the steep grassy slopes, and I'm also glad I wore these trail shoes. I'm glad I didn't wear boots. Trail shoes were quite manageable. Anyway, my way continues over here, and I think where the beacons are over there, down at the bottom, I think that's Prestatyn. Certainly can see the sea fairly clearly. Yeah, the signposting for the trail is really very good as well. Excellent. Anyway, if you've got any questions or comments, please put them in the space below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Ta-da! There it is, Prestatyn, as far as I'm aware. That's the first proper view of it anyway. Here we are, the very end of Offas Dyke, right on the seafront at Prestatyn. 177 miles. Lovely monument. Fade to black.